My jealous ex-wife tried to ruin my new relationship with lies and fake profiles. "You'll never be happy without me," she raged. I didn't react. Just gathered evidence and got a restraining order. She was screaming at my lawyer this morning, posted by You Calm Before the Storm 88. Subreddit r// relationships advice I 36M. Am putting this out here partly because typing it helps organize my thoughts, partly because maybe someone else has been through similar BS. Background: my ex-wife, Serafina, 34F, and I finalized our divorce about 18 months ago. On paper, it was amicable. No huge fights over assets. We agreed on the reasons: growing apart, wanting different futures. I certainly felt it was mutual at the time. Looking back, maybe I missed signs she took it harder, or saw amicable as potentially reconcilable someday. She had moments during the marriage, this kind of possessiveness about my time or attention, that I probably minimized back then. Hindsight, right? Anyway, fast forward about a year. I met Qley, 32F. She's fantastic, grounded, kind, makes me laugh. It felt easy, real. We took things slow, but after several months, it was undeniable this was heading somewhere serious. I felt a sense of peace, genuine happiness I hadn't felt in years. Predictably, word got back to Serafina through the small-town grapevine. We still have some overlapping acquaintances, hard to avoid entirely. The vibe shift was immediate. Passive-aggressive digs to mutuals about my rebound, implying I wasn't truly happy. Irritating, but I ignored it. Then came the phone call, maybe 3 months back, right after Qley and I posted a harmless photo from a weekend away. Ostensibly about some old male, but it swerved fast. "You really think she can make you happy?" The bitterness in her voice was sharp. "You'll never be happy without me, Liam. Just remember that." That wasn't just sadness talking. It felt territorial, like a warning. I kept my response brief. Something like, "Serafina, we're divorced, I'm moving forward," and ended the call. But that line stuck with me. The fallout wasn't immediate, more like a slow poison. Vague booking about betrayal. I was blocked, but one well-meaning friend, who now feels super awkward being in the middle, sent me a screenshot. Then came the whispers to Qley via people we both knew. Lies about our marriage breakdown, painting me as cold, manipulative. Easily debunked lies, but designed to make Qley doubt me. I laid it all out for Qley, showed her the few bitter texts Serafina sent before I blocked her number too. Qley was rattled, but solid. Still, it put a strain on things. This shadow Serafina was determined to cast. Right now, my strategy is containment. Document everything. Screenshot the forwarded messages. My friend feels bad but thinks I need to know. Keep a log. No direct confrontation with Serafina. She's not operating rationally, and engaging feels like giving her the drama she craves. Seems passive, maybe, but reacting feels like falling into her trap. Just hoping this blows over, but gut feeling says it's just the start. Update 1. So, blowing over was wishful thinking. Thanks for the comments on the last post. Good to know I'm not alone in thinking quiet documentation is the way forward, at least for now. About a week after that post, Qley started getting Instagram DMs. Accounts like TruthSeeker101 or Emma Jones Chi. Zero history, clearly burners. The content was vile. I was cheating on Qley with Serafina. I was broke. I was using Qley for status. Disturbingly specific sometimes. One message mentioned the small independent coffee shop near Qley's work where I sometimes grab her preferred oat milk latte. How the hell? Did Serafina somehow see me go in there? Did she press a mutual acquaintance for info? Or maybe I slipped up. I think I put a pic of the coffee cup on my close friend's IG story once. Maybe one of those close friends isn't so close? Paranoid thought, but the leak had to come from somewhere. It freaked Qley out, made her feel watched. She had a rough night after that one, angry and scared. Then my mom got friend requests from similar blank profiles, messaging her about her liar son. Mom went ballistic, on my behalf thankfully, and blocked them. Next up, Serafina's sister, Bianca, 36F. We were never buddies, just civil because we had to be. She's always been fiercely protective of Serafina, often buying into her victim narrative even when Serafina was clearly in the wrong during our marriage. I remember one specific argument where Bianca called me unreasonable for wanting a weekend away with friends, siding entirely with Serafina's complaint about being abandoned. So her text wasn't a total surprise, just infuriating. Bianca, you need to tone down the PDA with the new girl. Sarah is devastated. Me. Bianca, Sarah's feelings about my life post-divorce are her own. Her current actions towards me and Qley are harassment. Bianca, harassment? She's heartbroken, BC, you flaunted this. Show some class. She gave you years of her life. Me, using fake accounts to spread lies isn't grief, it's malicious. Please stay out of our lives. Bianca, unbelievable. You're ice cold. Sarah deserves compassion, not this. Me, this conversation isn't productive. Blocked her number. The sheer entitlement that I somehow owe Serafina misery or invisibility is staggering. Qley and I talked it through again. This isn't sustainable. It's targeted harassment impacting her sense of safety and our peace. It's gone beyond bitter ex territory. Took the evidence folder, screenshots, logs, Bianca's texts, to a lawyer yesterday. Mr. Henderson seems competent, straightforward. He looked through it all, his face unreadable. Said the pattern was clear. He's drafting a cease and desist letter. Cost a chunk for the initial consult and drafting, but feels like a necessary step. Still no direct contact with Serafina. Let the lawyer handle the official warning. Let's see if that gets through her skull. Inside, I'm churning. But externally? Poker face. Update 2. The C&D was delivered via registered mail, signed for by Serafina 10 days ago. Predictably, it didn't magically fix things. There was about a week of silence. Eerie quiet, actually. Then the storm broke. The fake profiles reactivated, but shifted targets slightly. Instead of just DMing Qley, they started leaving vague, nasty comments on her workplace's public social media posts. Nothing explicit enough for immediate removal, but insinuating unprofessionalism, linking back to the same tired lies. One even tagged her direct manager, who, thank God, is sensible and knows Qley well. Deleted, blocked the profile, but told Qley about it, obviously concerned. Then Serafina unblocked me purely to unleash a novel-length text message tirade. Pure rage. How dare I threaten her legally? How could I be so cruel after she sacrificed so much for our marriage? It was all my fault for moving on too fast, for flaunting Qley, read existing happily, for destroying her future. Zero self-awareness. It culminated in, you think a piece of paper stops anything? You ruined my life? I'll make sure I ruin yours. And that little tramp's too. Screenshot. Save. Add to evidence folder. Reblock number. Breathe. Bianca followed up with a tearful voicemail. Blocked number, remember? About how I was pushing Serafina over the edge, and how could I be so vindictive? Same old manipulation playbook. Noted date time deleted. Mr. Henderson wasn't shocked. Said this escalation often happens when controllers feel control slipping. He asked point blank if we wanted to petition for a restraining order now, citing the direct violation of the C&D, the ongoing harassment, the workplace targeting, and the clear, if slightly veiled, threat in her text. It feels heavy, a restraining order, against the woman I was married to. Part of me still recoils from it. But Qley and I had another tense conversation. She was pale, stressed. Asked me, Liam, how long does this go on? When do we get to just live our lives? She's right. Serafina ignored the informal boundary, ignored the legal warning. Her actions are escalating. So yes, we're filing. Mr. Henderson is preparing the petition. It requires a detailed sworn statement compiling every piece of documented harassment. Feels like crossing a Rubicon. This isn't about payback. It's about enforcing a boundary she refuses to respect. If she faces consequences, She earned them. This whole process is costing an arm and a leg, adding financial stress on top of everything. But what's the price of peace of mind? Update 3. Serafina didn't keep us waiting long for the next escalation. Guess the C&D violation wasn't enough for her. Last Friday night, Qley and I were walking to my car for dinner. And there it was. A deep, jagged scratch down the entire passenger side door. Keyed, maliciously, tucked under the wiper blade. A single, slightly wilted pink rose. The specific type I used to get Serafina for anniversaries. Chillingly deliberate. My stomach dropped. Qley just went silent, hand flying to her mouth. We looked around. Streetlights, apartments, but no obvious cameras pointed directly at my car's spot. Checked with a neighbor later, their ring caught nothing useful. Could it, theoretically, be a random act of vandalism? A pissed-off neighbor about parking? For a split second, that denial flickered. But the rose? The timing? The context? No. This was Serafina. We called the police, filed a report, documented the damage, the rose, the timeline of harassment. The officer acknowledged it was likely connected, but admitted that without witnesses or footage, proving who did it criminally was tough. But the report itself adds weight to the pattern. Any hesitation about the restraining order vanished. This wasn't just digital noise anymore. This was real-world, targeted intimidation. Property damage. It felt like a clear message. I can reach you. Mr. Henderson filed the petition for an RO the following Monday, adding the police report and photos of the damage. We requested a temporary order, TRO, immediately, pending the full hearing. The TRO was granted based on the documented pattern of harassment, the threats, and the vandalism escalating things physically. Serafina was served. The terms, 100 yards away from me, Qley, our homes, our workplaces. 0 contact, direct or indirect, meaning no more proxy messages via Bianca. The hearing for the permanent order was set for this morning. Mr. Henderson represented me. My presence wasn't mandatory. Qley stayed with me, both of us jittery, trying to work from my apartment but mostly failing. What if the judge didn't see the pattern? What if Serafina somehow twisted it? The waiting was agony. Mr. Henderson was supposed to call right after. Final update. The call came about an hour ago. It's done. The judge granted the permanent restraining order against Serafina. 2 years. All the terms of the TRO are locked in. Stay away. No contact. Full stop. Mr. Henderson gave me the play-by-play. Serafina showed up with Bianca, but no lawyer. Apparently, she tried to argue her own case. Bad move. Henderson said she started tearfully, painting herself as the heartbroken victim, accusing me of harassing her by moving on and asking her legally to stop contacting us. Claimed the fake profiles were random internet trolls, and the keyed car was probably just kids. Henderson calmly laid out the evidence, the dated screenshots, the content only Serafina could know. He didn't even need to bring up the coffee specifically. The volume of other specific details was enough. Bianca's texts demonstrating the pattern of proxy contact, Serafina's own text violating the C&D and making threats, the police report documenting the vandalism immediately following the C&D. The pattern was undeniable. The judge wasn't swayed by the tears. When she announced her decision to grant the RO, Serafina apparently erupted, shouting about injustice, how I owed her loyalty, calling Qley vile names, insisting it was all my fault. Bianca tried to jump in and got shut down by the bailiff. Mr. Henderson mentioned Serafina had claimed she couldn't afford counsel, but her general demeanor suggested she genuinely believed she could just talk her way out of it. Classic narcissistic overconfidence. The real kicker, confirming her total lack of self-control, happened outside the courtroom. As Mr. Henderson was leaving, Serafina cornered him in the hallway, started screaming abuse at him, calling him names, accusing him of being my hired gun to ruin her life. Henderson, ever the pro, apparently just looked at her calmly and said something like, Miss Serafina's last name. This reaction underscores why the order was necessary. I strongly advise you adhere to its terms, as violations carry serious consequences. Then he walked off, leaving her fuming with court officers watching. Bianca eventually managed to pull her away. So, no magical epiphany for Serafina. No remorse? Just raw entitlement crashing against immovable consequences. And the consequence is this: she now has a legal order dictating her behavior towards me and Qley. Any slip-up, a text, a drive-by, another burner account traced back, means police involvement, potential arrest. The power dynamic has irrevocably shifted. That's the justice here. She built this legal wall around herself through her own actions. How am I? Relieved doesn't cover it. Utterly drained, but relieved. Qley and I are having takeout tonight. Processing. This ordeal put a definite strain on us at times. There were tense moments, fears expressed, but getting through it together, communicating honestly about the stress, has made us stronger. Seeing her support me, and her seeing me handle this methodically, if expensively, Henderson's final bill is going to sting, need to budget carefully for a bit, built trust. Bianca? Total silence since being named in the RO context. Indirect contact is barred. Funny how quickly enablement stops when there are real stakes. Maybe Serafina gets help. Maybe she finds a new focus. Maybe she just stays bitter. Doesn't matter. It's officially, legally, not my problem. She vowed I'd never be happy without her. She was wrong. We're moving forward. She's stuck dealing with the fallout of her own choices. Thanks again, Reddit. Venting here, reading similar stories. It helped keep me sane. Over and out.